What's up guys, my name is Darkbblue. In this game, you play as a witch, discovering lost memories of the past in a strange forest. There are secrets on this witch, so dark that she cannot remember them. When she tries to look back, the only thing can be seen is this. And this whole thing is somehow connected with the evil witch Baba. Not only shall our witch seek the truth of herself, she also unravels various treasures in the forest. There live big talking mushrooms in the forest with strong and even extreme personalities, such as this guy who speaks just like a cowboy of the Wild West, and freedom is his only love.
Anyways, what's past is past. Gotta focus on here and now, shall we?
And such as this guy calls our witch the lady and calls itself the familiar.
Is that? It's you. Oh, I've been waiting for so long.
All these creatures live their own lives, but now even this is broken. The whole forest is now facing a new threat of the roots. The roots corrupt creatures and create a second crazy personality within them. And of course, it is your duty to purge the roots.
I beg you. End me. Don't you dare touch me. This whole
So in this video, I shall introduce this unique game, Blacktail, A Witch's Fate. I will talk about its gameplay, cultural background, and lore. Well, we are talking about a witch who's not very common around the neighborhood. This witch draws the bow and releases arrows instead of casting some magic most of the time. She can use magic of course, but they are more about knocking enemies back or healing herself by leeching upon enemies. These spells aid the combat, but damage is indeed mainly from the bow and the arrows. This game's combat may sound a bit boring, but this doesn't matter, since combat isn't the core of this gameplay. The core, in my opinion, is world design and exploring the world. You may be familiar with open world games. After all, this is commonly seen these days. You got many open world games from Ubisoft, and other developers also refer to their experience when making open world games. I remember Blacktail also calls itself an open world game in some trailers. But it is different. I think it's in fact a Hakoniwa world than an open world size. So what is a Hakoniwa world game? Let's take 3D Mario as an example. The world don't have to be big, but should be full of fun. You can find interesting details and a lot of puzzles to play with in every corner. Similarly, the world of Blacktail is designed more like a Hakoniwa world, so it is more delicate, more interesting, and worth a thorough exploration, though it is indeed smaller than a typical open world. I have to admit I prefer this design philosophy, since a large world with program-generated terrain will only be boring. During my exploration, I have come across small, delicate puzzles and shortcuts, which should be the core of Hakoniwa design. I have also witnessed various sceneries, from a windmill in the spring forest to a golden plain to a mysterious underground space. This is provided by the strong art design of Blacktail. So both when I am looking for some unsolved puzzles and when just walking around appreciating the view, I am having a good time. Besides this, you can also find a few interesting side missions in Blacktail. In this one, 3 spiders act typical bureaucracy, making our witch run out of patience.
Until then, I can't really help you.
My patience is running out.
And in this one, we are fighting a stone war. But you know, stones just don't move. Or at least, not when they are being looked at. So this war seems a bit, too quiet.
I'm holding.
Although outstanding world design, art design, and solid quest are enough to persuade you to play this game, you will become even more interested if you get to know its cultural background. This is a game about Slavic traditional culture, and you don't see this very often. There are other games related to Slavic culture, like Stalker, Metro, and Atomic Heart, but you can see they are different. They are sci-fi games, so don't feel so much culture in them as Blacktail, which is all based on Slavic traditional folklore. So in this game, you can fully experience this cultural origin. Like the two most important characters in this game, our heroine Yaga and the evil witch Baba, is a direct quote from Slavic folklore. But in folklore, we have only one figure, Baba Yaga. To be more specific, Baba means old woman, so Baba Yaga is the same as Witch Yaga. And of course, this is one folklore figure that can be seen in many different fairy tales. The one figure in folklore is now divided into two characters in this game, so if you are familiar with Slavic culture, you might already get some hints about the game lore. It's not only game lore that is related to traditional culture. For example, according to fairy tales, Baba Yaga lives in a hut that sits on 4 chicken feet, so that it can rotate. The hut in the game is, of course, based on the hut of Baba Yaga. But where are the 4 chicken feet? Is this interesting detail somehow discarded? Well, nope. You can find them under every chest, and these chests somehow look like small huts too. So, see how interesting it is? And there is another big example. This foal is called Vela. It looks like a fairy and can release homing electric spheres. And this Vela is just one of the fairies in Slavic folklore. You may think, well, this game indeed contains many cultural details, but I don't know Slavic culture and I will never find them. But in fact, there are easier to find details. Like in this side quest, you can meet Snow White. Just instead of being a princess, this Snow White is a gnome leader, and you need to even fight her. You can find much more fairy tale data in Blacktail, but they are now a darker version so that this game is more interesting. I want to say they look familiar. I'm pretty sure I have seen them in Andersen's or Grimm's fairy tales. But this game is about Slavic culture. I wonder if it's because they put meta elements in the game that are not only about Slavic fairy tales, or is it because there are indeed similar stories in different cultures? All in all, you can experience good world design, art design, interesting animations, and Slavic traditional culture in Blacktail. I recommend you play it for yourself. And since this game is just released recently, if you need some guides, you can also refer to my video series. I put them in the same playlist of this video, so they should be easy to find. But if you are more interested in fierce combat rather than world exploration, so this game doesn't intrigue you so much, or if you want to know more about the lore right now, well, you have my spoiler alert. Next, I will tell you the story of Blacktail. Yaga wakes up in the forest. She remembers who she is, the young one of the twin sisters. Her sister Soren is outgoing, though being an orphan, Soren is still welcomed by the kids in the village. But Yaga is not. She wears a mask all the time, so people call her Freak, and even the helper of the witch. Though Yaga doesn't get along well with other kids, she always gets her sister to protect her, so her days are not too hard to live. However, Yaga remembers not what has happened. Why is she in the forest? And more importantly, why is she alone? Where is Soren? Maybe is she here in the forest to look for Soren? Thinking about this, Yaga follows her heart and gets to the hut, a place she saw 3 years ago. This time, when Yaga enters the hut, she hears a mysterious voice. This voice seems to live right in her mask and calls Yaga the princess, claiming it's here to help. So Yaga makes the decision. She shall use the hut as her reaction base and search for her lost past, lost memory, deep in the forest. The hut provides clues, following which Yaga advances into another part of the forest. Here she will learn, during her journey, she has another thing to worry about aside from her past. Clues show that Yaga needs to cross the river, but the bridge is broken. Yaga has to turn to the Mushroom Brothers for help, and this ends up in the traditional way. Yaga helps them in another problem, then they will help repair the bridge. And the problem is, there is a dragon stealing honey. According to the plan of Mushroom, Yaga prepares what she needs to defeat the dragon. But in this process, she also encounters some other mushroom who gives hints that the dragon doesn't exist. What's the truth? No matter what, Yaga enters the dragon's cave. It turns out that the dragon is actually an imp. The imp is persuaded by Mushroom Case to mimic a dragon so that they can get honey. But it's not so simple as that. During the fight, Yaga notices two different personalities of the imp. One is a dragon, very greedy, eating honey all the time. The other seems to be the original imp, so full that he begs for mercy. Begs for mercy from himself, from that dragon personality. This is really weird and even more horrible than a real dragon. So what's wrong with the imp? It's the roots that have corrupted him. The roots are somehow connected with the hut, and now they are widely spread all across the whole forest. Every creature that is corrupted by the roots will give birth to a second crazy personality, and then it becomes what the imp has become. Now it's clear that Yaga shall take the responsibility to purge the roots, along her way chasing her lost memory. But good news is, by taming the power of the hut, the roots are naturally shrinking. But corrupted creatures still need taken care of. But that's more about side missions, so I won't talk about this too much. Now let's go back to the secrets of Yaga. Now that the request of Mushroom is completed, Yaga is able to cross the river and keep on chasing the clues of the hut. Here she finds a door similar to Dragoi. Staring at it, Yaga sees the last memory of Dragoi. His heart was taken by a monster who looks just like the so-called Baba the Witch by villagers. But how come Dragoi became the prey of Baba? Yaga doesn't understand, so she walks on, following the spirit of Dragoi. After a fierce fight, she finally remembers. Though I said Yaga is not welcomed by kids in the village, Dragoi is indeed one of those who are more friendly to her. So at an Eve of Ancestors, a traditional festival of the village, Yaga walked out of the village, found Dragoi and gave him a gift. Dragoi may be trying to convey some friendly signal, asked Yaga to take off the mask, but Yaga was so afraid she fought back. In the end, even Dragoi started to say, "The adults are right, you are a monster, helper of the witch." For Yaga, who's watching the memory right now, one thing worries her even more than what Dragoi said. Dragoi attacked her in language, and then he was killed by Baba. Does this mean Yaga is really the helper of the witch? Following clues of the hut, Yaga finds two more spirits of cave. One is Lavisa, who once pushed Yaga into a hole, after which it took Yaga a long time to get out. The other is Woko, the oldest among the kids, abusing Yaga with words all the time. And of course, they were killed by Baba after they attacked Yaga in some form. After all of this, Yaga begins to suspect herself, but at this time, even Yaga is attacked by Baba. If she really is the helper of the witch, why would she herself be attacked? In the end, the hut shows the clues of Soren. With a heavy heart, Yaga walks towards the castle of the winter. And it is here that Black Cat tells Yaga everything. Once upon a time, there lived the witch Gordana in the forest. She and her ancestors were all powerful witches and keepers of the forest. They tamed the hut with their strength so that the power of the hut and the roots stayed in control. And in the meantime, they could make the hut a sweet home. But villagers feared Gordana and eventually killed her. Before her death, Gordana was only able to send her twin daughters into the village, making sure they could be raised as orphans. The heart lost control, the roots began to spread. Gordana's spirit went back to the heart and was corrupted by the roots. Thus, Baba the evil witch was born. Gordana's love for her children was twisted. Everyone who attacked Yaga would be killed by Baba. But even Yaga herself is in danger, as Baba wants to grab her soul so that they can live together forever. As for Soren, well, she indeed died from some other accident, but now her soul is trapped by Baba. Now everything's clear. The truth is better than Yaga has imagined. She's not helper of the witch, but instead daughter of the forest keeper with mighty power. With the growth of her strength, Yaga almost had the roots under control. Now she only needs to defeat Baba in order to end the corruption in the forest and free the spirit of her mother and sister. But wait, is really everything clear now? We have answers for the past of Yaga and the corruption of the forest. But what about the mysterious voice in her mask? Well, compared with growth of Yaga and the voice's interesting dialogues, this truth matters not. But if you really want to know, you can find it yourself in the game.
There are no villains. And there are no heroes either. The ways we walk are lit by glimmers of our dreams. Living the fairy tale, we all become the same blurry past. Destination becomes irrelevant. We make the road. And the road makes us. Not heroes. Not villains. Just us.
Well, that's all about the game lore, but now I have another story to tell. In my Into Depth series, I will tell you a story of how I gradually go deeper into a game, become a skilled player, and find more fun. This story of me will be attractive as well, and such stories will be found nowhere else. So if you are interested, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.